Good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. This is the second video I'm making of Northwest Indianapolis. I'm just basically continuing off where I left off at the last video of Northwest Indianapolis because I didn't want to get cut off. Now some of these houses are still, well, they're not the smallest house in the world, but these houses around here look a little more, they look like they'll be within the price range of many of you folks out here looking to buy a house. I mean, I would say for around 150 grand or so, you'll probably be looking at a neighborhood like this. I'm just guessing. Yeah, I would say for around 150 grand, this is gonna pretty much be your neighborhood, or in an area identical to this one here on the northwest side of Indianapolis. I mean, these houses, they're not too fancy, they're not too big. Some of these houses look like they've been vacant for some time. They're probably on a short sale or foreclosure, so if you're wanting to buy a home for a bargain in northwest Indianapolis, you might want to consider looking at some of these short sales and some of these foreclosures. Because some of these houses might run for, I'll just say, $175,000, but if you come across a foreclosure or a short sale, you might be able to grab that same house up for $100. Now this street, now on this street, the houses are going to probably go for a little more, because a lot of these houses are further out, or further apart, and the yards are bigger. Yeah, man, I'm just trying to show you folks that you don't necessarily have to live in any of these suburbs and pay that suburban price tag if you don't want to. I mean, there's areas here in Indianapolis where you can live and the community will implement the suburb, except your price tag will be significantly lower. Here's some more houses that aren't too big. Well, they're not the smallest houses in the world, but you know, they're not too big either. Here's some more houses that if I had to take a guess, many of these houses are going to probably go for maybe 125 grand to 150. I'll just say in an area like this, if I had to take a guess, I would say the housing prices around here would go for anywhere from 125 to maybe 175. So if you have a little bit of money, this would not be a bad area to live. I mean, depending on your method of financing and depending on maybe your credit, if you're financing, I would say if you're making around that $50,000 a year income level, it wouldn't hurt, and you're wanting to live in Indianapolis, it wouldn't hurt for you to come around to this community and check it out. Now, some people here are a little more tidier than others. Some yards are better kept than others, but all in all, this is not a bad community. I mean, right now I'm driving around. See, I'm on Horizon Lane, and this is Horizon Lane. I mean, I would say to get to communities like this, I mean, let's see here. Like if you're here in northwest side of Indianapolis, I would say in many of your communities around the west 60s and below is what you're gonna want let me think here for a minute. I don't want to give misinformation out here. See, here's some houses that are even smaller. I would say here in northwest Indianapolis, if you drive around the General West 65th to the West 63rd Street areas, which is where I'm at right now, those are going to be the areas to where you're going to find communities like this, where the houses are smaller, the housing prices are going to be lower. I mean, I would say in this particular area, you can probably grab up one of these smaller houses for closer to $100,000. Yeah, I would say around here, I would say anywhere from 100 grand to 100 and a quarter, you can grab one of these houses. Now again, anyone that knows this particular area, leave a comment below. I don't mean to give information that's not accurate. I do the best I can to educate you people. I try to keep it as accurate as possible. But just understand that the information I give is not... See, right now, I'm on the corner of Tremont and West 65th. I'm going to go down West 65th. So I would say here in Northwest Indy, if you go down to the West 60, the streets that are in the 60s here in Northwest Indianapolis, if you go to the West 60s, all the way down to maybe the upper 50s in terms of the street names, you're gonna find communities like this where the houses are smaller, their prices are a little lower. But for the most part, the neighborhood is. But for the most part, these communities are gonna still be safe. You're not gonna have the riffraff in areas like around here, like you would in certain parts of East or West Indy. Like here in Northwest Indy, the higher you go in the street numbers, the more expensive the houses become. Now up ahead of me is West 66. But yeah, on this side of town, the higher the street numbers, the more expensive the houses get. The lower the street numbers, the lower the price the houses become. I just want to spend a little bit of time around this area because I know a lot of you that are watching my channel are probably going to be looking at houses that are going to be closer to that $100,000 to maybe $175,000 threshold. Now I'm going to go down 64th, North 64th. Well, I need to make a little small correction. Like here in Northwest Indy, the street numbers don't go west 64th and 65th and 66th or what have you. They go north. So these areas I'm going to drive down are going to, the main cross street is going to be North 64th. Now around here, some of these houses are bigger. I mean, around here, there we go. Now a lot of these houses, once again, I mean, they're not too big. You have a fair amount of smaller houses around here that you can probably grab up for around 100 grand, maybe 100 and a quarter. Now some of these houses are going to need some work. Some of these yards look like crap, but those are tools that you can use to negotiate the price lower. Here's North 63rd. And I make this video also to prove that you don't have to earn a super high income level to live in a safe community here in Indianapolis. I mean, around here you got plenty of smaller houses that you can purchase for, like I said, you can purchase a lot of these houses for probably 100 grand, some of them even less. Now I would say around here, if you go too much below 100 grand, then you'll be running into fixer-uppers, which if you got the skills and or the connections to do that type of work, then, you know, do your thing. Now on this street, the houses are a little bigger, they're a little bit more expensive. So I would say if you're on a budget and you're wanting to live in Northwest Indianapolis, your best bet is going to be to stay in the north 60s street areas. Here's North 62nd. So I would say if you still have to live off of some type of a budget, and you're gonna want to live around north, and you're gonna want to live on this side of town, like I said, your best bet is gonna be to stay in the 60s. Because when you get into the 70s, the houses get bigger and the prices get more expensive. So yeah, here in Northwest Indianapolis, your best bet is going to be to stay within the North 60s if you're on a budget when it comes to purchasing a home. Because the higher you go from the 60s, the more expensive the houses become, and the bigger the houses are, and the more expensive that they become. Alright folks, I'm going to end it right here. I'm getting ready to cut off. So everybody have a blessed one. I will see you guys on the next video.